Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another great interview on Paranormal the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, trying to make the world seem a little more normal one day at a time, and will we achieve that tonight? Well, we might. It's one of those episodes where we actually might achieve that to some degree, and I love that. I love that because we usually don't get to achieve that. Usually this show just makes the world a lot less normal, and it's rare to actually achieve that. So here to do it tonight with me as a guest as always, and that guest tonight is Candace Silvers, healer and teacher and human behavioral expert, which we're going to go into all that because this is all great stuff tonight. First things first, though, how you doing tonight, Candace?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I mean, like we said pre-show, some back pain today, well, last couple days. I don't know what it's from, but other than that, doing pretty good, and I get to podcast tonight, which is always my happy place. So, yay! But let's start this off the same way I start off every show. What brought you into the world of spirituality, the world of the paranormal? What brought you down this path?
I think it brought me way more than I brought myself. I think it pulled me. I had no choice. It was everywhere.
Well, that's actually a very common answer. Yeah, I didn't choose to be in this life; it just kind of chose me. But
No, I think it's a little bit more interpretive than it shows me. It was everywhere. I had four sisters that were all exactly alike. And then there was me. I mean, it was always different. And I was always up against why was I born a vegetarian to a very meat eating family? Why was I not able to read a book until I was in the 10th grade when my twin sister and my other sisters were debaters? Why was I playing the flute and doing gymnastics when my sisters were in school getting straight A's? Everything was always different. And why is it when I touched people, they just healed? And why is it I knew things about people I wasn't supposed to know, but I didn't know I wasn't supposed to know, and I got in trouble for it because it kind of sounded like I was telling a secret. But I didn't know why I got in trouble because I assumed everyone knew. So it was kind of everywhere, and it wasn't good until it was good.
interesting. So by your description there, I'm guessing that you were plagued by premonitions, like a lot of us are.
No, I wasn't plagued by premonitions at all, ever. I never have seen alien or out there or other. I don't hear voices. It just is true. When I would say to someone something, like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I said to my 7th grade teacher, congratulations. And she said, why? And I said, because you're pregnant, or on the pregnancy. And I got grounded, sent to the principal's office, kept after school for a week for embarrassing her and calling her fat and making the room laugh. And I don't know, I don't remember. A month later, she came to me and apologized and said she was pregnant.
Well, premonitions just mean they're a type of foresight. Like a lot of people have premonitions in dreams, or some people just have them naturally throughout the day. Like it's just like a quick little vision or instinct that something's going to happen in the near future or even far out future. I mean, I've seen conversations in dreams that would happen like a year later. I don't know why, but I see them.
100% agree with you. I think for me, it's just normal. I called my assistant the other day and asked her for something from a retreat I was doing this week, but I called her before it started, thinking that the retreat had already ended. And then I had to call her back and say, you don't have to answer me.
Huh. That's, so, I mean, yeah, that's definitely some foresight right there, and foresight is right up there in the paranormal ability scale.
Part of what I do for a living is teaching people to lose time. So if you go on like I just had 2 international retreats, and the last one just finished last night. People flying in from all over the world. I teach them how to lose time while they're with me. They can't tell at the end of the week if they've been with me for a moment or 100 years. And a week after they get home, they wonder if it ever happened at all.
That's trippy in a way. That's kind of trippy and interesting.
It's not trippy if you can speak about the cause and understand the motion. It's only trippy if you're brand new to it.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, of course, I would be brand new to it because the only way I know to truly lose time is to take some substances, which I'm not going to promote in this show. But so,
I
I mean,
also
it's
have a lot of people do ayahuasca experiences with me, but they never ingest anything. They'll throw up
interesting.
every hour. They'll speak in forked tongue. They'll come out talking about what occurred, but they didn't ingest anything.
Interesting. I don't know how you would do ayahuasca without ingesting something. I mean, is it?
If you can get to mother and connect without putting the substance in you that's already in all of us, because everything that's external is already internal, we just use a supplement to get it to fire. If you can cause that connection without ingesting, making your neural waves have to go up and come back down and go through something, why ingest it?
Well, yeah, that's logical as could be. I mean, why put something in your body you don't need to if it's already there? I mean, that makes sense. That makes
You can
perfect
connect to
sense.
it. Yeah, if you know
So
how
I,
to connect to it.
yeah, wow, okay. I'm just gonna say, folks, 7 minutes into this interview, and I already am freaking loving this because this episode's gonna blow my mind. I'm calling it now. It's gonna blow my mind by the end of the episode. It already is to some degree, but it's gonna blow my mind completely by the end of the episode,
Well,
and I'm gonna be sitting here.
let me teach you how to lose time. So I'm going to unblow your mind. I'm going to make it obvious, but making it obvious doesn't do it. You have to do it to see it, right? So I'm just going to speak about to you the cause and then the effect. So the cause is when you're having an experience, like you're on a first date with someone, you're falling for them. At the end of the date, you go home. You don't know if you're on the date for 5 minutes. You know, it feels like 5 hours was 5 minutes. In a
Mhm.
dentist chair, 5 minutes feels like 5 hours. So it's
True.
how much per square footage of thinking you're doing, and all thought is based in fear, trying to come up with a solution from something that's missing. When you're 2 years old and you're at the park, you don't know the taxes have to be paid and dinner has to be made. You're simply experiencing it. Everything you're experiencing for the first time. It's brand new. You've never been there before yet. Therefore, there's no shelf historically to put it on to mark time, to worry about, to try to make different. When you're experiencing, which we can do as adults today, when you're having an experience outside of anything you have currently experienced yet, a brand new date with a brand new person that's turning you on, it's not like anything else before. Therefore, there's no history book or her story book to equate it to mark time with. So you come out experiential and having lost time, go like, wow, that felt like 5 minutes. A great movie will feel like 5 minutes. Well, when you go into an experience. So I tell everyone that goes on a retreat with me, whether it's a weekend retreat or a 7-day retreat or an 11-day retreat, you're going to lose time. And I guarantee you. And sometimes it takes 2 days to get them to drop. But by day 2, all 20 participants have dropped. At the end, I say you're going to, I'll say on day 3, day 4, day 5, do you remember what we did yesterday? They have no recollection. They can't place it. They can't remember it. They're moments I'm creating for them, not memories. So they can remember a moment, that moment can open up, but they can't remember how they got there, what was before or what was after. So I finished a retreat maybe 2 weeks ago now. Those people will feel as though they were never really here, because what we caused was an experiential event by event by event for a week. Instead, and that's because I teach the supernatural, right? That's because I promise them things that are impossible to do, and they come and then they do them. So their mind can't retain, remember, or repeat. Therefore, it becomes an experience. They can't remember what they did, how they did it, but they now leave with the ability to do it.
So, what are the benefits of losing time like this? Like that's kind of what I'm curious about. It's like, what are the benefits of it?
I don't know. Ask a 1-year-old what the benefits are of no time.
Somehow, I don't think I get an answer, but
Well, but
but I
that's
mean,
the thing is, we don't really miss our legs until they don't work anymore. We don't miss our youth until we don't have it anymore. We don't miss having a beautiful face until it's not beautiful anymore, right? When you have grown up and become a who am I and developed a mind, a sense of self, I am this, I do these things, I like these things, I don't. When you then lose your mind, it's an experience, you're experiencing an experience instead of a being, right? A 1-year-old is a being, or I should really say a 6-week-old. By the time you're 1, you've already developed habits and kind of a sense of self, even though there's no one really home yet.
Yeah.
When you lose time, I don't take drugs. I've never taken like LSD or mushrooms or anything like that. So I don't know, but I've had thousands of clients tell me it's very similar. But when you take drugs, you lose time. You don't know if you've been on that LSD. I'm guessing, and you can tell me I'm wrong if you have, and I'm wrong. I'm guessing that if you take LSD, you have no idea. I mean, you can look at the clock and know how long you've been gone, but the experience is beyond your ability to calculate. But you have to do it to cause your brain waves to go through something specific so you can lose your mind for that period of time and create psychedelic experiences or whatever it is the experience is, because you want to try something out. When you can learn to do it on your own, you can choose it. I don't know the benefit of losing time. I know the opposite of the benefit of having time is that there then never is enough and you fear the loss of it. I live in a hallway. I'm never coming from anywhere and I'm never going anywhere. I don't wake up and go to sleep. I'm always here. Now, the negative to that is I have to buy a vitamin case and put my vitamins in because I don't know if I've taken my vitamins each day or not. I have to look and see, oh, Monday's missing. I took that.
Which makes sense in a way. And and okay, well, just to put it out there, I talked about this on the show previously last week, but I've done acid once in my life. Other than that, I never touched anything else because I was not the way I was brought up, and it's just never always a little bit of a fear in my mind to do those type of things. So, but with acid, you do lose a little bit of time. I was at a concert, and there's certain parts of the concert I do not remember, but I remember coming to certain points during the concert, which I think are the moments I was supposed to come to, and it's an interesting experience. I can't say I haven't done it again. I can't say I ever will, but opportunities arise in the future. Who knows? Things happen, but I have no plan on taking it any time again. But it was something I wanted to experience once, and I figured I was at a concert. What can go wrong?
I've experienced things like falling off a 1,000-foot cliff, and I live to tell about it. I've experienced things like being in full-on car accidents that went right through me. I've experienced things like seeing 12-foot birds. All my clients see it with me. I'm not the only one that sees it. This last week, all the lights in the house were going crazy. It's all filmed. It's not hearsay, right? So to me, that is equal to your LSD, but I don't go up and come down, and I don't have to ingest something to cause it. I just lose my mind. But I don't lose my mind like I'm losing my mind. I just can hyperpresence myself here into a different wormhole.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't lose your mind. I would say if anything, your mind's set free. But
well, your mind's not activated. Your brain waves are activated. Your sense of self becomes a peaceful witness. It's aware, not thinking. It can still think like the popcorn chewer in the movie theater. You can still hear the popcorn chewer, but you go back to the movie, the task at hand, that with which is occurring concurrently in front of you, not your thought of what will or should or how to deal with it, but the simple activity of being involved.
So, yeah, it's basically about focusing. You're still going to be focusing on something to keep you in the moment in a way.
You're not focusing, you're releasing the identity that there is a focus. You are simply connected to what's going on in front of you. It doesn't have a label. There's no outcome-oriented focus would extend a distinction. Outcome, thought, right? I'm focusing on something. So you're not present if you're focusing. You lose the ability. Like, for instance, have you ever seen a shadow and then you turn to look at it, and when you turn, the shadow's not there anymore? That's because you're focusing to find the shadow. The shadow lives in a wormhole or in a dimension that's greater than your two eyes. It's only connected to your history. So when your two eyes turn to look, that shadow that you saw, dimensionality, won't be there. If you can learn to be with it, not focus on it, not turn to look, but I know you will be able to enter other.
Interesting. And when you say shadow, because we in the paranormal world have something called shadow people, which
I don't that's why people. I don't know shadow people. Maybe
okay.
shadow. I don't know. I just don't. To me, alien is that with which I don't know yet. And because I have the ability to identify human behavioristically, not other, but self in other, I don't have alien. I don't see other out there as separate from.
Well, just for your knowledge, shadow people are a entity that most people believe are ultra terrestrial or interdimensional, and we don't know if we're only seeing part of them because they're from another dimension, and that's how we can perceive them as shadow people, like people who are basically made of shadow, or if there's something on this realm that we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different theories for shadow people, but they're basically just another paranormal entity in this great paranormal world we live in. But I mean, you did say something about 12-foot birds, though, and that kind of piqued my curiosity.
Well, I've only seen it once. I was in Indonesia. I was with about 25 of my students. And yeah, 20, 12-foot bird. I mean, we only know this because like one person goes, it had a 6-foot wingspan, and the other one goes, it was black fur, and the other one goes, yeah. And it was like we all saw the same thing at the same time. Obviously, that's not in our world, so it's not in our dimension, but we were connected somewhere other presently at the same time, all of us. Now, shadow was what I was talking about, is not shadow people. It's just we all see shadows when we turn to look and we go, oh, I thought I saw something. What I'm suggesting is you did see something, you just didn't see it with your intellect. So when your two eyes turn to look to capture, oh, that's what that is, it won't be there. You'll then identify, oh, I thought I saw something, but I didn't. What I'm saying is that alien you're talking about, maybe it's alien people. I don't know. We can label them whatever we want. But there is another dimension, many, 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 many dimensions going on simultaneously. I don't know how many of them can see us, but I know it's the future, the past, here, there, now. Then it's all happening now because there's nothing other than now going on. There is no over there. There is no yesterday or tomorrow.
Which is interesting because I mean, what we're talking about here basically is the fact that time is fluid and that there's only designations of today and tomorrow because we put those designations on it.
I don't think time is fluid. I think time doesn't exist unless there's a mind. There has to be a looker doing the viewing for mind to occur. I think when you're dead, there is no time. And before you're born, there is no time. And once you identify a culture and an identity of what we are trained to do and to see and how we're trained to do it and see it, then you will identify movement and identify that as time. Like we've agreed that east is here and west is there and north is here and up and down. We've agreed to it. I don't know that time is fluid. I don't believe anything is going on but neural pathways in a brain that are being touched somehow, that are creating a portal of if you will, we're being flashed against a wall and it's popped out in 3D and that experience is happening. But it's only happening here. The idea of the there, like totality is happening like this. It's happening right now from beginning to end. I think God, nature, whatever you want to call it, allows it to lay down on its side so that we have the ability to look forward and back. But it's all only happening right now. It's never not now. You know that. You know yesterday was right
Yeah.
now, tomorrow will be right now. It's never not now, but you have the ability to equate through a memory chip an identity of a past experience and then call it something, frame of reference it, label it. And then the body reacts to it like a dog bit me when I was 2. Therefore, when I see dogs today, dog is not friendly, or dog kept me safe when I was 2. So when I see a dog today, I see safety. But if you didn't have that reference in your history because it hadn't been trained in yet, you would be seeing something for the first time without a label and any identity to know it. So you couldn't create a time frame because it would always be now. You wouldn't remember it because there'd be no label to put it anywhere until you see it 3 times. You see it and you have no idea what it is. You see it again and you go, I've seen that. You see it a 3rd time and you've labeled now pre-verbally, this is what that is, friend or foe, good or bad, useful or not useful, whatever that is, it falls into the file cabinet of the mind. Once
Makes
you have the label, you identify as, that takes a long period of time. Why? I don't want to do it. That takes a short period of time. Why? I want more of it.
See that right there. I mean, folks, whether or not you can grasp all this, it actually makes sense to me. It actually really does make sense to me completely because, and while we're not saying time is fluid, it does kind of compare relatively to that theory because, and while we're not saying time is fluid, it does kind of compare relatively to that theory because, and while we're not saying time is fluid, it does kind of compare relatively to that theory because, and while we're not saying time is fluid, it does kind of compare relatively to that theory because, and while we're not saying time is fluid, it does kind of I
You can
mean,
say anything you want. Any evidence you're looking for, you'll gather. I mean, no one ever hasn't found what they're looking for.
not true. I've been looking for my Amazon Fire Stick remote for a freaking year and I can't find it. So there are things I can't find.
If you lose your mind and presence yourself, you'll remember presently, not remember historically, and you'll go right back to it. But as long as we're in doubt and we're in looking, looking is the absence of finding. So as long as you're looking, your mind will be captured by something's missing and it won't become a member again. The minute you stop looking and you know, your body will identify like a memory chip, like one of those things, machines you put over the sand to find gold or someone lost their diamond ring. And it'll be
Oh
right
no,
there because nothing's lost. You're just not you're looking where it isn't, not where it is.
interesting. I mean, I kind of forget. I kind of forget all the time that I lost it, and then like a couple months later, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I still haven't found that." And it's just it comes and goes. It comes and goes. Like I don't put my full focus on the fact that it's missing all the time, but because
Where
I can
you
still
when
work my.
you were little, my mother used to always say to me, if you lost your shoe, you say, if I were a shoe, where would I be? And it'll tell you where it is.
Yeah, well, the problem is, I think my daughter hid it somewhere, and she forgets where she puts everything. So that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. I can't control the minds of others. I wish. I wish this world would be a better place, but
I don't think so. You just have a different set of problems.
true, true. Ugh. There is no easy solution in this life. There really isn't. But well,
There's no solution in this life because there is no problem. We're trained to find a problem and look for a solution, which is what creates time.
whoa. That's a philosophy gem right there. I swear to God, that's a philosophy gem right there, and I love it. I love that.
People can't sell you things if there's nothing wrong.
That's true. That's true. I mean, if
So
everything's if everything's copacetic, then you don't need to go on Amazon and buy anything. So that makes sense. So if it made there's a problem, it's let's get another one of these in Amazon. Where is it? How much? But let me ask you, all right, well let's move on to the healer portion of your career though, because that's the part that truly captured my imagination when I saw your profile. Because healers are medium psychics, like all these different genres of the spiritual world always amuse me to some degree because it's I've seen them work, and the fact that people still can believe they don't work is beyond me. Because I've seen them work, you can see shows where they work, and yes, don't go watch John Edwards. That's not proof of anything. Go to actual podcasts like this and watch actual people do their skills, or go to their events.
let me ask you a question. Put your hands up to your screen right now. Do you feel heat or tingling?
Neither, but
Well, put your oh, you have your hands on your screen. There you go.
on.
Put your hands up to your screen. Follow my words. Put your hands up to your screen again, where your
Oh,
face.
there,
Yeah. Now
there.
tell me when you start to feel heat or tingling.
Light tingling, maybe, maybe.
Can you feel me blowing on your face?
Yes, a little bit actually. Yeah,
Where are you located?
Massachusetts.
I'm in Texas tonight. There's two computers in between us, and yet you can feel heat from my hand and tingling from wind from my mouth. So there is no separation if that is true. Now, if someone's listening and they put their hands up to their screen, I mean, they have to be watching. They're going to feel it too. And if they watch it in a year, they're still going to feel it because blessings don't die. They are always present. They don't come and go. Now, if you want me to talk about my work, I'm happy to talk about it. If you want me to heal your back, you told me before the show your back hurt. If you want me to do a healing on your back, I'll do a healing on your back. You let me know what you would like me to do. It's your show and I'll follow.
Well, let's try the healing first, and we can always talk about what you do after. How's that sound?
What's going on with your back?
Kind of like a lower back. Feels like it feels. I think it's a nerve damage type thing because I can feel it radiating down my leg. but
How long have you had it?
a couple days now.
Oh, just for a couple days? That should be easy. Stand up and turn around. Sometimes it'll go in 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it takes more than one session. But if we can get it in one session, that's a good thing, right? Turn around and back up.
I am sorry. I'm sorry for the view listeners.
Walk away from the camera. When I mean back up, I mean back away from the camera. Okay, a little bit more.
Really nowhere else I can go, but there's a couch there.
I'm going to start here. Is it more on the right or the left? Anyone else that's on here can turn around and put your back to the camera and your back will heal, or just whatever body part is hurting. Okay, I'm going to send healing in right now. You tell me when you start to feel heat, tingling, pressure, or coolness. Put your arm down. What was the pain level when we started between 1 and 10?
7, I'd say maybe.
Any heat, pressure, tingling yet?
Definitely a low pressure.
The pressure is right on the top of the right back hip?
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm sending it because that's where you pointed. So I'm going to heat that up now. I'm going to make it stronger. Tell me when you feel that pressure stronger.
Mm, yeah, definitely feeling pressure on it a little bit, but
Now check and see, is it still at a 7?
maybe down to a 4.
Okay, I'll take the 4. Let's see if we can get it to a 2.
Really feeling pressure. Ooh.
Where?
Same spot, just feeling a lot of pressure.
Just breathe through it. Don't get scared and contract. Breathe through it. It doesn't take long. It'll relax really quickly. I don't believe in time, remember? So it doesn't take long.
Right.
Easing up, right?
Not quite yet.
It hasn't started easing up?
A little bit, maybe. I mean, it's hard to tell. All I feel is like a pulsating pressure.
Turn sideways. I'm going to go in your psoas and your sciatic at the same time. Yeah.
Ooh. All right.
I love newbies.
Yeah. Felt like a little shock down the leg at that point.
Right, but it was just letting go. It doesn't stay. Relax, relax. Is it still at a 4?
Ooh. Actually, it is like a 2. Actually, that is like a 2 now. My God. It's going down like a lot. Ooh. I can actually move around without it hurting.
What if abnormal became normal and impossible just became Tuesday and everybody had healing and nobody lived in pain anymore?
The world will be a better place.
Well, that's why I've been doing this professionally for 36 years.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that's more dealable. That's a lot more dealable. My God.
Well, why don't you come sit down? And if you want another one, I do small group healings throughout the week. You just go on my website. They're $35 and you can have another one. But that was my gift to you.
Appreciate it because that definitely made it go down. I mean, even sitting down didn't hurt as much as it has been all day. So
Well,
that's
by the time we're done with this show, it should be gone. And if it's not, you know where to find me on Monday.
exactly. And so you've been healing for 30 years. That's amazing.
No, I've been
How
healing for 62 years. I've been healing professionally for 36 years.
professionally for 30. Yeah. So it started when you were a child, and you, of course, I mean, I'm sure that scares any child because you don't know how to deal with it. You don't know what to think of it at the time. But
It didn't start when I was a child. I started noticing things I didn't care for very much. Like I would touch someone and they would say they just healed, and I thought they were laughing at me or making fun of me, or I didn't know I was doing anything. My mom,
huh.
my mom had a huge cyst on her hand, and I touched it one day. She had been to the doctor many times. They said they couldn't remove it. They couldn't do anything about it. It was the size of a walnut. They said they could cut it off, but it would probably cripple her hand and it would grow right back. And she was telling me about it one day, and I touched her hand, and she said she got really tired. And she looked the next day and it was just completely gone. And she said, I did it. And it just scared me.
I can imagine it would scare any child to hear that they just got rid of something that doctors can't even get rid of. I mean, it's got to be a very for a child that has to be mind blowing. It really does because it's an ability that most people don't have naturally. And oh yeah, most people I would say. There's
Well,
always a
that's
few, and
one of the reasons I've done so many shows on Gaia TV and things like that is just to get it out there and make it normal.
I mean, so are you saying that there should be you saying there should be a healer in every family basically, or
I believe there should be a healer in every home. And I believe everyone on the planet should be a healer, but my commitment has been to put a healer in every home. I've trained people to do my healing modality. It's all copywritten and trademarked by me. I've trained people on 6 continents, doctors and nurses all over the world to do that.
which would be amazing because it would also put the health insurance monopoly out there into a big setback because I and all the medical community in general is just everything is so overpriced nowadays. Medication's so overpriced, it's ridiculous. I mean,
Well, and
there's
most
medication.
doctors and nurses are really just walking out en masse. So there's no real medical community anymore because we have these new doctors and nurses that don't really know what they're doing or what they're prescribing, or it's unless you're in, private practice. If you're, doing that kind of medicine, that's still making big money and has great doctors, but that's private practice. Yeah, but I really believe, like, you guys don't know NED, right? You know remission, but you don't know NED, and the world should know NED. No, NED is no evidence of disease. My clients come to me with rare fatal cancers and stage 4 and hundreds and thousands of them, and they're not all of them. Some of them die, but a huge portion of them, a huge portion, they don't go into remission. There's just no evidence of disease anymore.
Which is actually, yeah, I mean, it's there. I've heard of these before where there's a huge. Actually, my episode that just released today, folks, with Ray Chris, founder of the Jaguar Path, he had terminal cancer and he went to the jungles in South America and he became a shaman to help himself heal himself and he learned and his cancer disappeared after a couple of years. His cancer was gone. So this is to me, it's not unbelievable. To some people in the world, yeah, probably because people have small minds. But to me, it's 100% believable and 100% truthful because the mind is a wonderful thing, and there are lots of things in this world that we can't explain that just work. Things out there in the spirit world that work for certain reasons,
Well,
no matter what.
my work works because it just worked on you, not because I told you. And most people want to just talk at each other. What hurts now?
I mean, actually, honestly, it's already starting to feel a lot better. I'm feeling like a burning back there, and it's feeling a lot better right now. Like I would say, it's down to a 1. So I, yeah, it works. I can feel it. It's amazing.
Really,
I
really, really, where our lives, our worlds, our communities, our cultures should be going to is direct experience. Stop telling people about things and cause it. If you can cause it, nobody's wondering if it's true or not, because you're not wondering if I can do this or not anymore because I did this. It happened. You felt me blow on your face, your back hurt, it doesn't, or it's down to a 1, you said. I think I worked on you for what, 5 minutes? You could go to a chiropractor 6 times and still have pain, maybe. I don't know.
as as a as someone who went to a chiropractor regularly when he was a teenager, then I can tell you, yes, that's 100% true. Because a chiropractor will make your back feel better for maybe a half hour if you're lucky, and then an hour later it's hurting just as much as it did before, and oh, you gotta wait 6 days for your next appointment and
Well,
pay them another $50 copay.
if I got all of it, it won't hurt again until you hurt it. If I didn't get all of it, you should come and have another small group healing with me. You can do a private session with me. They're 15 minutes, but you can also do a small group healing. It's a fraction of the cost. But if we got it all, it won't come back again.
I will be able to tell shortly. I would say time will tell, but that doesn't seem like it really would apply in this situation. So
you also, in no time, sitting here with me, you went from a 7 to what you just said was a 1. So that wasn't call me in 3 days. That happened in real time. It happened right now.
Actually, here's the test. Okay, yeah, just stood up with no pain at all. When every time I got from the couch earlier today, between editing podcast episodes, it was like agony getting off the couch. So
we also didn't need to go into the jungles and go into a jaguar community.
oh,
This happened in the comfort of your own home on a computer at no cost. All you had to do was be willing to believe in the unbelievable for a couple of minutes.
which, I mean, anybody who listens to my podcast knows I believe in the unbelievable every freaking day of my life. So it's just what I do. But yes, folks, I mean, oof, my God, that is so much better. I can actually take my dogs out now without limping. Yay! That's great. And yeah, I don't want to take dogs out, but still, I mean, it's amazing. It truly is amazing. And yes, I just experienced it, folks. I'm not. You all know me. I don't lie on this show. I truly just experienced it, and I just stood up without my back hurting for the first time since last night. So it's amazing. It's amazing. I applaud. I really do, because it's. And to anybody who watches the show in replay, you will get the effect of it too. So there you go. That's listeners. That should give me more watchers. But so what when it comes to your healing journey in your life, what would you say is the most miraculous healing you've done?
Oh my God. I would love to have one, but I do miraculous healings every day. If you watch my healings yesterday, I healed 6 people. A girl that flew in from Canada. She laid on my table for an hour. She had had a horrible birth where they sewed her up wrong. Her right knee surgery had gone wrong. They want to solder the left side of her neck. Her nose was broken 6 times. Many other things. You watch her. It's live. You could go watch. I mean, it's still sitting on Facebook and Instagram right now. You watch her whole body writhing and moving, and she gets off the table and she's got absolutely no pain. She wrote me this morning and said, I have to think of what her name is. Sam. She wrote me this morning and said, Candace, for the first time in 20 years, I woke up pain-free. Both surgical sites and scars have complete feeling back, and scars have been reduced. I have full range of motion back in my neck and shoulder. My body is back online. I used to hope for a good day, not truly ever knowing if it would come. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's every day. I healed another lady yesterday who had a big hump at the top of the back of her spine. Like you could see it again. It's all live. And in real time, the hump goes away. And she says, I can lay down on the ground now and I have no pain in my back and I can turn my neck. And who else was yesterday? I had a girl that flew in from, this is a good story. Harper, I've been working with for a year, very rare bone cancer in her spine. She just had turned 15 when her mom brought her to me. They live in Idaho. They wanted to remove 3 of her vertebrae, which meant she would have been paralyzed for the rest of her life in a wheelchair and using a caustic bag. And they chose to go with me instead. I think there was I can't remember, but not a lot of good news on whether they believed she'd survive. And that kind of cancer goes directly into the lungs and takes you out. Instead, they worked with me. Today, she's NED, back to playing basketball. You see, I think she was here 5 or 6 days ago. They flew in from Idaho, and her right leg was numb. She sat on a hot iron, curling iron, and burnt her tushy because she couldn't feel it. She was completely numb. She could only sit up at about a 40-degree angle because her back had atrophied. Her right leg was ice cold. She couldn't go up on her tippy toes and in constant pain. And she left here after an hour completely normal and fine.
It's amazing. I mean,
I also saw 30 other people this week, all with the same stories.
that I mean, it's incredible because this is, I mean, I talk about this stuff all the time on my show, but this is basically what pastors and preachers were trying to do in white tents for the last 100 years, and we all know they're sham artists, most of them at least. I mean, I'm sure
I
there's
don't
one or two.
know. I don't know that we know that. I think most people are not telling the truth, but we don't know that everyone is. A guy flew in from Switzerland maybe 2 weeks ago. He's 40 years old, born with his eyes crossed. He wears prism glasses, never takes them off. He can't see. He sees double without them on. And I worked on his eyes for 15 minutes, and he doesn't need glasses anymore. Now, you wouldn't have believed me if it didn't just happen to you in real time, right? So it's not something I tell people about. I also have a free event I do once a month or once every 6 weeks, and it's global and it's free, and you can just come online from the comfort of your home. And we usually have about 800, 1,000 people on there, and I heal everyone, all 1,000 ailments, all at the same time, and everyone heals. And it's free. And there's nothing to pay for.
Which I believe you also have events where you teach people how to do this as well, so that they can become a healer themselves.
Yeah, in 6 weeks, I can teach you how to heal like this. You're not as powerful as me in 6 weeks, but you're on your way.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't expect to be able to do it the first day. No way, no way, no way. I mean, it's just not the.
Because I can connect to other. I can connect you to other. And the moment you can connect to other and bring it through you and have a direct experience with someone you've healed, you now know you can.
Interesting, and well, we'll have to see what is happening at that time, even though time doesn't exist really. But we'll have to see what's happening at that time because there is a job that requires me to be there through a certain amount of hours, and I can't control what they consider time. So,
Well, if I'm training someone, the level 1 takes 1 full year. In the first 6 weeks, you can actually heal people. I initiate you. I put my energy inside of you, light your fire. You feel heat in your belly, and then you can start practicing healing people. Level 1 is 1 full year because I'm going to teach you about medicine, the human body, how to affect those healings to get the most per square footage, if you will. You're also put in my human behavioral classes so you can start to see and realize, REALEYES, have real eyes to see things that once baffled you become effortless, so that as the practitioner holding the modality, you come into the being of more power. So it's a full year, level 1. Level 2 and above are all 1 week, but level 1 is a full year. And that training happens. Level 1 is all on Zoom, 100%, because I'm on 6 continents, right? It can't be in person. And the 6-week academy is from 1 to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. So it's all very doable. And then you're practicing throughout the week, each of the 6 weeks, what I'm teaching you to do. And you bring that back the next week and I add to it.
might have to look into that honestly, because it'd definitely be good in my house to have someone who can heal constantly nowadays with these illnesses going around that doctors can't give you medicine for because it's viral and they can't give you anything to get rid of that. So
Go back and look on my social media back in the middle of the pandemic. I still met with people every single week in my garage during COVID. I wasn't willing to protect myself when other people were in need. If you had COVID, you were asked not to come. Everybody wore a mask. I wore gloves. They brought their own sheet, put it on my massage table. I did it in my garage. People sat very far apart. And I healed people all the way through the pandemic. Somebody had to stand up. I mean, this is a world of sit downers, right? Somebody's got to stand. You got to risk while you're alive, because you're not alive if you're not risking. You're not experiential if you're not risking. You're dead man walking.
I like that. A world of sit downers. I really do like that. That's an amazing phrase. And I think I just came up with the title for the episode, but but all right. Well, that's I mean,
why don't we call the, instead of a world of sit downers, why don't we call it a world of magic?
it is a world of magic, just not everybody realizes it, and that's the issue.
Well, wait a minute. Who on this planet realizes the same thing as their neighbor? We have different religions, different things that people do for a living, different creative skills, different parents that came from different cultures that know different foods, that understand different ideas. Why do we think everyone should know the same thing and be the same? How about we stand up with what we have to offer and serve selflessly, period, full stop. People either move toward us or away from us. There are people that are ready to get off the planet. Let them get off. There are people that want to live in the miraculous. Let them move closer to me.
I I love that. I love that right there. I really do. It's a beautiful statement, and yeah, I agree because I expect nobody to think the same as me because my mind is warped. Some people will call it twisted. Some people will call it, but my mind is different from everybody else's in the world, and that's the way it should be. I have my own thoughts. I have my own inclinations.
I think everyone's mind on this planet is different from each other. You know what makes us all the same on this planet?
What's that?
Every single human being is different. And if every single human being is different, that's what makes us the same. Is that your little one?
But go go ask your brother, sweetie.
That's the best.
Speaking of not living in reality, but go ask brother how to turn on Bella. So let's actually, in the last part of this episode, let's focus on the human behavioral expert part because that always interests me too. Because human behavior has always been an interest to me. In college, I took some elective classes on it just because why not? And like the way humans be like literally people watching in the middle of a mall. I love it because it's just like, why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing this? So what made you want to be a human behavioral expert?
I don't think I wanted to be. People just kept coming to me and asking me questions. And when they did, they got more successful. And then they'd come back and ask more. And I would say, I don't have time to talk. I have kids. I have to go do things. And they would offer to pay me and became a job.
Which, as you just saw, I can agree with that because even my podcasting time gets a little interrupted from time to time. But
children have to be first. Children have to be primary. They also need to learn boundaries.
I agree 100%. They always should come first, but they also need to learn there are boundaries that they need to respect.
Are they on either side of the table?
Yeah, basically. But
children understand behavior. They're always going to be smarter than us. They know exactly how to get your attention.
Oh, they love to get your attention at all the wrong times. But so, did you actually study to become a human behavioral expert in college or something, or was it just natural to you? Like, did it just come?
No, I train psychiatrists and psychologists and teachers and people that come to me and sign up for my classes. I have a psychiatrist that's in my class right now for the last 4 years. He's been a psychiatrist for the last, I think, 38 or 40 years.
Exactly. It's amazing how the behavior of humans changes from person to person, and it's amazing how some people just can naturally see it. Like I had a friend. He, in my opinion, was a sociopath, but he also could predict how people were going to react to everything he did, and it was scary in a way because it's almost like he had some sense that he didn't have, that I know he didn't have, that he could tell the future almost. Like he could say something, and he could be like, "Watch, I'm gonna say this, and this person's gonna react this way. They're gonna jump back, or they're going to do this," and they would do the exact same thing he was gonna say. It was creepy as could be, and scares me to this day. He no longer is with us, unfortunately, house fire and all that. But he, it was my example in seeing human psychology, basically, and it was scary. It really was scary.
Well, I'm not doing
And
anything a psychologist or a psychiatrist does. I'm teaching people to see beyond what they know. I'm not teaching people to understand more of their mind or their culture.
which is exactly, I mean, and every culture is slightly different, but at the end of the day, we all are human. I think we all do behave the same to some degree with certain things. I mean, take the government, for example. They want to say during COVID, oh, UFOs are real. We've known about them since the 50s when you all thought we knew about them, but we lied. And I truly believe it was a test of how humans would react to it for when the bigger news is dropping, I believe in 2027, if I've been told right. There's going to be a lot bigger news dropping in 2027 about that
They're dropping
topic.
the news now. They set us up for 40 years ago or 50 years ago when they gave us My Favorite Martian or um, Lost in Space, when they knew that there were extraterrestrial beings and they knew that we would lose our minds if they hit us with it. So they started creating comic books and things to ease us into it. They're always preparing us for what's coming in a way that is easing the global consciousness into an understanding that won't just feed back on itself. We can't control what's going on or how it's going on or what we do or don't know, but we can bring joy in the moment and hyper presence ourselves to what is occurring. But we are all so tangled in what's coming or what isn't occurring or what isn't here or what we don't know or how we can prove things that we forget to remember to live.
Oh, I mean, that's true. I mean, well, especially for some people. I mean, I wouldn't say everybody's like that, but definitely some people who are out there are so paranoid about everything coming that they don't live. They just worry about the future, right? I mean, I try to live in the moment because I practice Reiki. Ever since I started the show, I've become more spiritual. I try to live in the moment because of that. But before that, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't as much as I'd like to think I did. But this show has taught me a lot. I mean, this episode, for example, has taught me a lot. And my mind's going to be, I'll be laying in bed tonight thinking about all this. I'll be like, okay, this is just another layer onto the paranormal world I already live in that I have to. I try to put it all into one theory, and it kind of will drive you mad at times, but it works. Like, I try to put it all into one overlapping theory of how the world works. I'm eventually going to write a book, I
all that
think.
all that theory creates time, and all that time keeps you from the present moment, and the only way to be alive is to live. Everybody's born and everybody dies, but very, very, very few people actually live while they're alive. Most people look for theories or doubts or proving or waiting for this thing that's coming or look at this thing that's gone that they're missing now. They are not trained by their own hearts to present beyond what they know. And that's where life is coming from. It's not coming from the mind and theories and ideas and safety, but that's what your culture likes to capture.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. It's 100% right. People, the old, we'll call it the Al Bundy sentiment of it all, or the Archie Bunker sentiment of it all. You have a family, you go to work every day to provide for that family. Eventually, you retire, spend time with your families a little bit, and then you die. I mean, that's the way we're taught. We were taught to live. That's the way I was taught to live. I was taught that one day you're gonna have a family, you're gonna provide for them, and then eventually you'll die. But like that was the basic summary of life as I knew it when I was a kid. Like that's what's gonna happen to you because I was watching it happen to the generations before me. So
And when you get
it's
done being done, living that way, something will take your attention that will draw you beyond what you know. Generally, we know that when we get a disease or our child gets sick, everything hyper presences itself and it's all we think about. It's all we're committed to. It's the only thing taking our time and attention. What if that was always, always? What if that was never not now? What if what took your attention was going on in front of you and not within your ears for fear? And that's a practice, just like going to the gym. It's a practice to untrain yourself from fear and theories and right and wrong and getting there and understanding and accumulating and doing the right thing and covering it up and pretending. And all of that is it's just repetition, which is a waste of time because you've already been there.
Well, I think at this point, since we are almost at time, but what would you say is the most important? I'll do two things here. What is the most important lesson you think every human being should know? And then after that, just feel free to tell people where they can find you, where they can find everything you offer. Just promote yourself to the fullest.
I don't know that there is a most important thing. I think every person has a personality, our personal reality, and we're drawn to what we're drawn to. But I believe within that, the task of selfless service is where we lose ourselves. When we're attending to what's going on in front of us, we forget to remember us. And when us goes away, when me goes away, when who am I goes away, life shows up. So I think as we begin to learn to, instead of being self-centered, to being centered in the self, we'll find more spark. That's an opinion, and that's what I think is incredibly important and will bring so many people so much more life, and it doesn't cost anything. But that
I
could
love
be
that.
a really long subject matter.
Yeah, especially in this day and age. But yes, in a world where people try to make themselves look perfect on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and every other social media aspect out there, yeah, that's this world needs a lot of changing to begin with. And I totally agree with what certain states are doing, taking down TikTok, because I think it's ruining the future. But that's my personal opinion, so I don't want to say it.
Do
It's a fact.
you know who it was a while back that said, do you know who they were talking about that said, we have got to get rid of this music. If we don't get rid of this one person, it will ruin music for the rest of our lives. Do you know who they were talking about?
I think Elvis Presley, but I could be wrong.
Beethoven.
Oh, even further back. Nice. I like that. I like that.
My, my point is, in every generation, we think this is the worst time. We are missing the forest through the trees.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's true. We are, and it's hard. It's hard to not give into the societal norm of looking at the trees instead of looking past them. It's as a metaphor. It's hard because we are so focused on this bill's due this bill's due this week. I got to make sure I have the money for it. Blah blah blah. Let me go work three different jobs to try to get the money for it. Let the bill get missed. Guess what? It'll get paid. It'll get paid. Everything's meant to happen. It'll get paid. But you may not pay it the exact day it's due. But don't let the freaking people that own these companies control your life. Just it'll get paid. There may be there if you pay in a certain amount of time, there's no late fee. So what's the difference? I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, I it's the way I try to live life. Like I try not to live in the moment. I try to just like people ask me all the time, like, why'd you stress out about this? I'm like, because I'm like, it'll resolve itself. I'll make sure of it, but it'll resolve itself eventually. I'll just not worry about this second because it's not going to do me any good to worry. I'm just going to be here. And it happens. It works. I mean, I'm in sales, so that's what I do for my real job is I'm in sales. And I don't worry about like the fact that I might not have a sale just yet, even though there's only an hour left a day. Because guess what? Something's going to happen that next hour that's going to give me something. I know it is. I have no doubt. And I've been right for a while now, so just gotta live. You gotta live with the universe. That's the way it is.
Sounds like faith is starting to take over. Hope opens the door, but only faith can walk through it. Hope doesn't have legs.
No, they don't. But no, it doesn't. You just gotta have. And I'm not saying faith in any. I'm not prescribed to any religious organization, but just have faith that it's gonna work out. That's basically it. The faith
Why
that it'll
does
work
faith
out.
have to have anything to do with religion?
You're right. It doesn't. And I was just trying to make sure people realize that because I don't want people to think like, oh, he's becoming a God believer. No, 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 no. I don't. I hate religious organizations with a passion. I do not subscribe to any of them. I just have faith that that fate will work out the way it should. I believe in fate. That's all I believe in is fate.
Well,
So
if you say believe, faith and believe can be the same word. What you believe, you be and live. Be, leave, live. What you believe, you be and live. If you're angry, that will become your truth. If you're happy, that will become your truth. What you believe, you see. So you're choosing what you bring to the table is what you eat for dinner. What you bring to the table. If you're angry, you're going to be eating anger and you're going to be blaming everyone else, but you brought it. That's faith. Faith is coming from, not at. And you can believe in the unbelievable until the unbelievable becomes believable, but never don't believe in the unbelievable. It just means we haven't been there yet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, it was thought that we couldn't get to space at one point, and look, eventually we achieved it, and so many other aspects of that. I mean, we've seen more in this paranormal world in the last 10 years than we ever thought possible. We have seen more evidence of spirits living among us than we ever thought possible. We've seen evidence of UFOs. The government told us UFOs are real, which a lot of us never saw that coming. A lot of us never thought that was going to happen because the government likes to keep its little secrets.
I'm not so sure we're seeing more of it now. I believe we're discussing more of it now.
True. I mean,
burn witches at the stake. Now we're looking at who are the people that used to burn the witches. We're just becoming a little bit more aware.
Very true. Okay, I appreciate the correction because that is true. That is true. And now witches are loved actually because I see them all the time in my Facebook feed offering their services. So yeah, it's funny how the world changes. I always say on the show, like when I was a kid, the psychics and mediums were the crazy people your parents told you to avoid on their building on Main Street that's part house and with their little business in the front, or they were at carnivals. Nowadays, I talk to psychics and mediums on a weekly basis, and I fully believe they have every ability they say they do because I've seen it work. I've seen it happen. They've known things about me that no one could ever know. So it's amazing. It's amazing how the world changes and spiritual awakening's happening, folks. As we've talked about in this show many times, the spiritual awakening has started. It's not complete yet, but it has started, and in the next 3 to 4 years, we should be seeing some miraculous things happening because of it. So,
well, I
look forward to those.
I think those 3 to 4 years are happening right now. I see miraculous things every day.
I mean, it's happening now, but I don't think it will be fully complete for 3 to 4 years. That's what multiple people have told me, and I kind of get that sense. Like, we're gonna have to go through a dark period before we get to the light. And it's happening. The dark period is slowly happening. This election year and everything else is making it happen. But Vince McMahon and all that, and everybody else getting not Epstein, my God, Stephen Hawking now, God, like, we're hearing darker things about all these beloved people, and I think the darkness is slowly coming down before the light reveals itself. So, maybe another year or two, and the light will start to reveal itself. Maybe. We'll see. I can't predict the future, because there's no future, there's no time, as Candace said. So, Candace, where can they find you if they want to get one of your miraculous healings? Because, oh my God, I haven't felt this good in a couple of days. So thank you. And where can they find everything you do if they want to find out more about you?
Go to my website, CandaceSilversStudios.com. And in there, they have all sorts of different classes and healings. And if you're interested in having a small group healing, that's usually about 15 or 20 people, or a private session, or there's a complimentary global healing event coming up in March. I have in-person healings, academies, all sorts of different human behavioral classes, lots of fun stuff to play with.
Well, there you go, folks. Go check it out. And of course, the link to her site will be right in the description of this podcast for all my listeners, as always, because I like to make sure my guests get fully out there in everything I do, because that's the pleasure of working with these people, is I get to spread the world a little bit further so that people can see things that they haven't seen before. And I want to thank Candace for being on, because this has been a fun show for the last hour. It flew by because, time is time and it doesn't exist. So I'm embracing that now. That's going to be my new thing. Time doesn't exist. I'm embracing that now. It might not work when I'm late to work, but I'll try. But to all my listeners, you know where to find me. If you don't, shame. But check the outro. You'll hear it all again. I just don't feel like saying it every time. Till next time, I will actually be back in 50-ish minutes with a bracket tonight, and then I'll be back this week with more interviews, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Schedule's a little blurry always, but yeah, I have a couple interviews this week, folks, so you'll see me again in the coming week. And be sure to check out everything Candace does, and until next time, thank you for listening and thank you for watching. and have a good night. And thank you, Candace.
Pleasure. Good night.